Welcome back to another episode of Twisted Pair. My name's Damon, and today we are talking tools. And what I mean by that, the not so common tools that can make your job as an upfitter easier. We're going to start in the shop. I'm going to show off a couple of the tools that I tend to use to help me out, and then I'm going to hand it over to Matt, and he's going to do the same. Let's get going on it. Okay, the first tool I'm going to talk about today are these automatic hose pinch pliers. Now these are intended originally for pinching off like heater hose lines when you're changing out a coolant or changing out a part inside your car. But in the upfitter industry, these are really good at holding a piece of wire. So if I was, say, soldering this wire here and I needed to just hold it straight up, well, there you go. You just pinch those guys on there and they create a nice soft pinch onto the wire. And that allows you to, do your soldering and stuff like that. And then when you're done, obviously slide up your heat shrink. Now the second set of tools is these bent nose crimpers. Now, these are short crimpers. They're airplane friendly, so you can actually get on the plane with them because they're less than the whole 7-inch minimum standard. And they have this bend on the end of them that allows you to do crimps as opposed to, holding it like this with the wire coming in. These allow you to come in at this angle and do your crimp. So here we go. Let's demonstrate that. Give it a nice crimp. And there you go. That's now crimped on there. These are excellent for working inside of a console when you have a limited space or you can't get the full width of the crimpers in there. And they allow you to crimp at a distance here. And they've got both the uninsulated type crimp and they have the insulated type crimp, as well as a set of wire strippers. So these are really fantastic. They're not really expensive. You can pick them up, I believe, on Amazon. And let's move on to the next one. Now these have to be one of my very favorite tools. They're called the pliers wrench. They're made by Knipex. You can pick them up off all the tool trucks, or you can go straight to like Home Depot and a place like that and pick them up. This is the little 5-inch set. These are great when you're working inside of a console and you're tightening down nuts and bolts to hold things onto the console. So as opposed to using like a self-tapping screw, you could use an actual like a number 832 threaded screw. And on the back side, you can hold it and get your screwdriver and come in and tighten it. And they're great. I mean, they work like pliers, but they have a shape to them like a nut would have. And you can actually see it right here. They've got the hex going on as far as the nut would go. These are great. Awesome tool. And it's a total time saver as opposed to going back to your toolbox and picking up an 11/32 or a 5/16, whatever it may be. These save all kinds of time. All right, the last tool that I'm going to show you are these guys right here. These are pin pullers. They're intended to pull fascia pins. So if you've got any of the little black clips that holds your fascia on, these are intended to get under them. So they've got a nice sharp edge and you get right up under it, give it a good squeeze, and then you just give it a quick pry and it pops them off. This is a super inexpensive and very handy tool to have. Now I'm going to hand you off to Matt. He's got a couple tools to show you. Matt, take it from here.
Thanks, Damon. Really great choices there. Digging that trick with the hose clamp pliers. Gonna have to add a set to the old toolbox. Speaking of which, let's see what I can find.
So here are my 3 picks. An inflatable wedge, in this case the pump wedge. What's awesome about this is I can use this to get space between a headliner and a roof when I'm installing a radio antenna without having to, do a lot of trim disassembly. I can also use it to wedge open gaps between body panels in the vehicle in situations where I'm trying to add a video camera later. I have to replace a cable or run an additional wire in a vehicle that's already been upfitted because, the partitions or the cage will be in the way and it makes it very hard to access those panels and get your arm behind there without doing some damage. So take a pump wedge, you can slide it into those tight spaces, inflate it and get the space you need, and then take it out without any damage. Awesome tool, inexpensive. Get you one, you're going to really, really like it. If you've been to a blueprint training with Damon or I, you know how much we like the simple, humble seam ripper. And what's great about this is you can open up a wire harness. In this case, I've got some loom that's wrapped with the Tessa high heat harness tape. If you're familiar with that tape, you know it's impossible to tear and very difficult to cut, yet the seam ripper makes short work of it, and there's much less risk of cutting or injuring yourself with this versus scissors or a razor blade, which so many upfitters use. A seam ripper, about 75 cents each in bulk and worth every penny. Replace them about every 2 months so that they stay sharp. And finally, a good set of wire strippers. Most of us start out with some cheap stripper from a multi-purpose kit, and then we progress by buying various strippers throughout the years till we maybe stumble upon the perfect one. Well, let me save you some time and tell you that this Waytek 555 is about the perfect wire stripper. It's lightweight. It's very, very low stress on your joints to use. It takes almost no effort to get a good strip. It's adjustable both for length of strip and also wire gauge, 34 to 8 AWG, and it gives you a very nice clean strip without damaging the wire and by cutting the shoulder of the insulation very, very cleanly. So that was set for a 3/4 inch strip, and it gives me a nice length there, and also leaves the stripped bit of insulation on the end to protect the wires so that I can prep wires and put them in without risking tearing the wire strands up. Or I can set it for a shorter strip, in this case about 1 centimeter for a butt splice. And again, a nice clean strip. They're not inexpensive, about $55 I think for a set, but trust me, they're worth every penny and they will save you some time. So there you go. Some cool new tools, many of which you may not be familiar with. Upfitting is always more about the technique than the tool, but having good tools can only improve your technique, giving you and the customer a better result. Until next time, please like and comment below. Let us know what other topics you might want us to cover, and thank you for tuning in to Twisted Pair.